Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Haiqal bin Hushaini. In this video, my partner IRFAN, NAFIZ and I will do a video critique on a movie. So we choose the trial of the Chicago 7 as our movie. This movie is a historical American movie, released in 2020. It is based on true event. Talk about the synopsis. In Chicago 1968, the Democratic Party convention was met with protests from activists like the Moderate Student of a Democratic Society, led by Tom Hayden, and the Militant Yippies, led by Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin, which led to violent confrontation with the local authorities. As a result, 7 of the accused ringleaders are arraigned on charges like conspiracy by the hostile Nixon administration, including Bobby Seale of the Black Panthers, who was not involved in the incident. What follows is an unfair trial decided by the belligerent Judge Hoffman and prosecuted by a reluctant but duty-bound Richard Schultz.
Mr. Counselor, just one question. Mr. Counselor.
All right. Hang on, quiet down. I want you all to meet a new addition to the defense team. This is Leonard Weinglass, one of this country's most talented First Amendment litigators.
Phil, can you tell us the status?
Go ahead, Simon.
Can you tell us the status of Charles Gary?
Charles Gary is still in the hospital. You should contact his office for information. Marjorie.
Does that mean you're representing Bobby Seale today?
Oh, no, it's very important that it be understood that for his own protection, I will not be acting as Bobby Seale's attorney today. One more, Jack.
Bill, I was told that Hayden was the one who wanted to bring Mr. Weinglass in, that Hayden has concerns about your seriousness.
Well,
this is William Kunstler. You want to find out how serious he is? Meet him at a witness stand.
So this is the first scene that have been chosen for this movie. The scene is professionalism. In this scene, the lawyer just arrived at the court for the trial. There are several reporters that have been waiting for them to ask them question regarding the trial. The lawyers decided to entertain them by giving them chances to ask question. They give good cooperation to the reporters, resulting the work of the reporters went smoothly. This professionalism is important when you are working as a lawyer, because it will give information to the reporters regarding the case, and it will give good impression to the reporters. So when people are asking question, we need to listen well and give them the right answer without interrupting them, and answer them accordingly.
We are, Your Honor.
I don't have my lawyer here.
It's not your turn to speak.
My trial's begun without my lawyer.
Please sit. Mr. Schultz.
The second scene that have been chosen for this movie is impolite behavior. In this scene, Bobby Seale shows no respect to the prosecutor and the judge, because Bobby Seale interrupting the prosecutor while he talks to the judge. This lead to the trial was interrupted. So the judge had no choice but to tell Bobby Seale to sit down. Interrupting someone is a bad behavior, and it is a negative behavior during conversation. In order to interrupt someone, you need to ask them politely, because it is quite rude to interrupt someone when they are talking. We can use "excuse me" or "may I interrupt" as a introduction when you want to interrupt.
At his table. At the defense table are the 8 defendants represented by their lawyers, William Kunstler and Leonard Weinglass. The defendants would tell you that they represent 3 different groups. They would tell you that one group
Excuse
is...
me.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to clarify something for the jurors. There are 2 Hoffmans in this courtroom, the defendant, Abby Hoffman, and myself, Judge Julius Hoffman.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't want there to be...
The third scene that have been chosen for this movie is good manners. Good manners is a positive behavior in the workplace. In this scene, when the prosecutor talks to the juries, the judge had to interrupt them due to certain circumstances. The judge interrupt them with manners by saying "excuse me" to the prosecutor. This resulted in the prosecutor stop talking and paying attention to the judge because he wanted to say something at the court. This is very good because when you are trying to interrupt someone when they are talking, it is important to do it with manners, because if you don't have manners while interrupting someone, it is disrespect to the people that are talking, because you need to show respect to them while they are talking.
I object to this man's testimony against me because I have been denied counsel.
We understand.
Do you recall any of Mr. Seal's speech?
Yes. He said I object to this man's
Quiet!
testimony.
Go ahead.
May I refer to notes?
Yes.
He said we must understand that as we go forth to try to move the reprobate politicians,
Your Honor.
our cowardly Congress, the jive, double-lip talking Nixon.
Double-lip talking Nixon. You make me sound like one funky cat. Thank you, sir.
Last warning, Mr. Seal.
Did he say anything else?
He said the revolution at this time is directly connected to organized guns and force.
No more questions?
Jive, double-lip talking. Funky cat.
Would the defense like to cross-examine the witness?
Yes. I'm sitting here saying that I would like to cross-examine the witness.
Only lawyers can address a witness.
My lawyer is Charles Gary.
I'm tired of hearing that.
Couldn't care less what you're tired of.
What did you say?
I said it would be impossible for me to care any less what you are tired of, and I demand to cross-examine the witness.
Sit in your chair and be quiet, and don't ever address this court in that manner again. Are there any further questions? We'll stand in recess for 1 hour and court will resume.
Premeditated murder! Fred Hampton was assassinated last night.
Marshals, put Mr. Seal.
He would have been able to hold a gun in his hand when the police recorders report. Make sure you ask about the bullet wounds in his shoulder.
I strongly caution you, Mr. Seal. I strongly caution.
Scene number 4. No manners. In this scene, Bobby Seale briefly interrupt the prosecutor to stand with their right. He loudly shout in the court to defend or stand him and his race. The effect is with no manner in that situation, it will cause him into a bad situation where Bobby Seale get a handcuff and his mouth got sealed. For recommendation, by reviewing this scene in every situation, you need to mind your manner. So the situation will go smoothly, but if you think you are right, you can briefly give opinion with manners.
To work for me. Those two men are senior deputies with the Justice Department. That's Mr. Kelly and Mr. Ackerman.
Well, I don't know why these men are here.
I invited them.
You invited them.
I don't want the appearance of impropriety.
There isn't any impropriety.
And now there are witnesses to that.
So these men are going to call Schultz and Ferran as soon as we're done here.
Don't be ridiculous. They already called Schultz and Ferran. And they're going to call John Mitchell as soon as we're done here. Go ahead, ask what you want to ask.
In front of them.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Clark, while you were the Attorney General for President Johnson, was there ever any discussion with the White House about seeking indictments against my clients?
Can't answer that.
Why not?
It's against the law.
That's an overly broad interpretation of the law.
Sir, if you'd like to...
No, and I'll tell you what. We've dealt with jury tampering, wiretapping, a defendant that was literally gagged, and a judge who's been handing down rulings from the bench that would be considered wrong in Honduras. So I'm a little less interested in the law than I was when this trial began.
Well, whether you like the law or not, as former AG, he is protected by it.
No, you're protected by it. And with respect, sir, I can subpoena you.
Find a judge in this circuit who will sign that subpoena.
He's right. And taking the stand voluntarily would be a big risk for me.
Scene 5. Interrupt the meeting. When the lawyer is having a meeting with a witness, the senior deputies and Justice Department with no manner interrupting the meeting while the lawyer asking a question to a witness. And the effect, it is unprofessional and it show no manner, and it make the meeting longer and it will interrupt the focus of attendee. Also, it make this situation or a meeting more tight with some quarrel. For recommendation, it is unprofessional behavior if interrupt the meeting. Please do not interrupt any meeting so the meeting will go smoothly. Only interrupt the meeting when the boss finish their session of speech.
So, Chicago was just a massive voter registration drive.
Yeah.
Did you hear the tape we played in court of Tom Hayden at the bench show?
Yes.
You heard the tape?
Yes.
Did you hear Mr. Hayden give an instruction to his people to take to the streets?
His people. Hayden's not a mafia don, and neither am I.
Did you hear him say, if blood is gonna flow, let it flow all over the city?
The beginning of that sentence was supposed to be... Yes, I did.
What'd you think of that?
I think Tom Hayden is a badass of an American patriot.
I didn't ask what you thought of the man, I asked what you thought of his instruction to the crowd.
I've also heard Tom Hayden say, let's end the war, but nobody stopped shooting. You can do anything to anything by taking it out of context, Mr. Schultz.
If blood is gonna flow, how do you take that out of context?
A guy once said, I am come to set a man at variance with his father and the daughter against the mother. You know who said it?
Jerry Rubin.
Yes. No. It was Jesus Christ. Matthew 10:35. And it sure sounds like he's telling kids to kill their parents. Until you read Matthew 10:34 and 10:36.
Do you have
He'd just seen his best friend get hit in the head with a nightstick. The police, Mr. Schultz. Whose people are they?
Do you have contempt for your government?
Do I?
Yeah, do you have contempt for your government?
I think the institutions of our democracy are wonderful things that right now are populated by some terrible people.
Please answer the question.
Tell me again.
Do you have contempt for your government?
I'll tell you, Mr. Schultz, it's nothing compared to the contempt my government has for me.
We've heard testimony from 27 witnesses under oath that say you hoped for a confrontation with the police, that your plans for the convention were designed specifically to draw the police into a confrontation.
Well, if I'd known it was going to be the first wish of mine that came true, I would have aimed a lot higher.
Scene 6. Discipline and professionalism. In this scene, the lawyer asking the witness with manners, and the witness also answer the question with politely, and he is under control even he has pressure on him. The effect is in every situation. If it controlled with professionalism attitude and with discipline, everything will be easy and in a matured way to solve the case or any problem. For recommendation, every workplace need to handle with professionalism, and it is a good way to solve any problem in every situation. And for the conclusion, there are many more lessons in this movie that can teach us to provide in workplace and even in our basic life. It is important for a future employee to adapt this professionalism in their life for their future workplace. This movie shows us that it is important to respect every race in the world and stand with justice so it can make a world a better place to live in. This lesson is important because we need to adapt this lesson into our life. So in every situation, we can handle it with professionalism. The communication in this video have two differences, which is a polite one and a poor communication. The constructive criticism is using in this card because it provides specific, actionable, and suggestion. This type of communication is needed in a workplace, so it is impossible to misunderstanding the meeting and any work. It would be different if in future employee did not provide this lesson in workplace, because the outcome, they will be in trouble and the workplace will be in mess.